Is Teshada the worst champion among epics in Raid Shadow Legends? Let's find out. Hi, I am Madcapper, and there's another video on Raid Shadow Legends. This is an update on a champion who I did a video on the I Built Them series about a year and a half ago. Well, she's been buffed, but was she buffed well enough? Does it make her useful? Let's find out right now, and let's take a look at Teshada. Sorry, excuse me. We're going to take a look at her in the champion. I don't want to do a full fanfare on her. We've already done that. The question begs, is she good now? Woad Painted was, in my opinion, the worst champion in Raid Shadow Legends. She got buffed. She's now one of the better champions in Raid Shadow Legends. Did they do the same to Teshada? So here she is. Let's take a look at her kit here. And these are the same 3 skills she had before with very different abilities or, modifiers, I guess. We'll talk about it here. So Spirit of Appeasement, the old one, is a hidden skill only available when someone died. When someone died, she could revive them with 40% HP if she killed an enemy. That was the only way. Didn't hit hard enough. Was really kind of a useless skill. So now they've changed it to revives an ally with 40% HP, 40% turn meter, then heals all allies by 15% of their max HP. Looks like a much better skill than it was before. Maximum Carnage, however, went the exact opposite. It used to be attacks 3 times at random, has a 50 bookable to 75% chance of placing a weaken. Now it has a 75% chance bookable to 100. However, before it would be 100% if the attack was critical, meaning you could conceivably skip books in this champion and still have this ability to work. Now, in order to get that 100%, you have to put 5 books in them to get that, plus the cooldown. So I would say objectively that makes it a worse skill than it was before. But you could split hairs saying, well, if you were going to book them anyway to get to the Spirit Appeasement extra heal, which I don't think is worth it, and get this extra damage, again, don't think is worth it. And the cooldown, then you're going to put the books in anyway. But honestly, I just think it makes it and I would say objectively it makes it a worse skill. Because now you can't just crit rate your way into 100%. You actually have to book your way into 100%. Her A1 used to be an increased attack if the attack was critical. Now it has a 50% chance instead of 100% of placing increased defense. However, the increased defense is a much better skill. Finally, they took away the attack modifier. Damage used to be based on defense and attack. Now it's only based on defense, making her a lot easier to build. What I have done here, I'll show you the masteries. So these are the masteries based on her kit. I didn't put her down the offense tree. I did try her out in the offense tree, and then didn't like the footage. Sorry, I didn't like the footage I had, so we're re-recording, but we'll make it work. So we have her like this. I did try the Bulwark and Selfless Defender. Probably would actually recommend Timely Intervention if you were going to put time and effort into this champion, because the Timely Intervention just gets her back to that revive a little bit quicker. So that's Teshada, but I do have her currently in Savage with a reasonable build, 56-12 defense and 232 crit damage, 255 accuracy, so that we can kind of see what kind of damages she can do. So let's do that right away. We'll take her into the dungeons, and we'll take her to Dragon's Lair. We'll take her to 25, and we're just going to kind of look at, I'll show you the build of these other champions in a minute here, but we'll show you what kind of ability. So Whisper is actually all single target, but we'll do this. She gets 2 hits. Man, she's weak. She normal hits at least once every single time, even though she still has an 80% crit rate. Anyway, so that's her. She got an extra turn here, so haha, that makes up for it. So he's got an AoE. It does remove all debuffs first, so there's a component to the skill that it's not showing. And then we've got hers there, which yikes. And then finally we've got Alika's. So let's take a look at the damages, keeping in mind that their one enemy did die. But so 242, 240, 284, and Alika's would have been even harder, but the death. So that number would have been even higher. Whisper got an extra hit, but that did make her have 4 total attacks on enemies. So it is very similar. And then 3 random hit a total for 43. Not very good at all. So so there you go. You know what? Just for you guys, I'll spend another 20 energy. We'll show you the A1s. Again, well, we didn't get there. Okay, that's fine. A1 here. Boom, 45. What's with you and the extra turns all of a sudden? Where is that when I... Anyway. A1 here, 30, like 50. Here's her A1, 42. Didn't get the defense up, by the way. And then her A1, she did get the double attack. It won't show her full damage because she killed her. So again, not a damage champion. She has good enough gear. She's not anywhere near the others. So let's take a look at the gear of each of them real quick. Or the stats, at least. Alika in Savage is 53, 242. Oh god, I can't believe I X'd out. Just going through my head space. Teshada, again, we look at it, 56, 232, and also in Savage. Artemage, 44, 221. Also in Savage, but considerably lower numbers if you want to do that for comparison. Still hitting way stronger. And then Whisper here, 52 and 275. Should be hitting higher and is. And really used to be higher, but I did put her in an HP chest for some survivability because I use her in the Hydra Boss. And I was trying her in Nightmare. So anyway, long story. Longer. That's that. So there you go. Not a very good nuker, but that doesn't mean she's bad. It just means do not expect her to do damage for you. She used to be able to do damage with her A3 and a little bit with her A1, but that's gone. She is not a damage dealer at all. So how do you build her out? Well, I'd recommend this. The only way I can see her being viable as a champion is to lock out this. It's not doing any damage. 3 times at random for a weekend isn't really consistent. It's not really good. Sakara is a better champion if you need an AoE weekend. So I wouldn't count her on for this. So my opinion is lock out her A2 completely. Put her in a reflex set so that Spirit Appeasement is always available for you to be used. And then just build her high defense with HP, speed if you can. And you don't even need accuracy on her if you're gonna do the lockout skill method. But if you still want that just for the extra damage weekend, if you don't have another champion to do as much damage as you can as a whole team, then forget the reflex gear. Just make her good defense, very strong, very fast, so you can get back and get around to that A3 should you need it, should someone die. So that's that. Honestly, here's my opinion on her. We'll kind of do a final thoughts thing again. The reality is, and the question asked at the very beginning of this video, is she the worst epic in Raid Shadow Legends? My answer is yes. I do believe she is the worst epic in Raid Shadow Legends. That doesn't mean she's unusable. There are stages where she is usable. However, the fact that she's in Barbarians is why she is the worst. Because there's other champions that can do what she does better that are available, making her even less useful. And unfortunately, if you don't need her for revives, you're not using her for maximum carnage, which is neither maximum nor carnage. And this is just a self buff. This is a nice touch for her. Don't get me wrong. Really good for her, but really just not a strong champion to use. Arguably worse than she used to be, because this now requires books to be 100%. Before it didn't, making her even less usable than she was before. But that's not why she's the worst champion. The reality is she still has a 20% faction crimp speed aura, and she revives an ally with 40/40 and heals the whole team. So why do I think she's the worst champion? For 2 reasons. Reason number 1, Jamarsa. Jamarsa, all you need is 3 friends to get their account to level 10 to get this champion for free, who revives all allies, granted 5 turns, but revives all allies with 30/30. This to me overall is a better skill, especially when coupled with a passive that is phenomenal in my opinion, and a secondary skill that's healing a target ally by 30% and turn meter, and even has a chance of placing asleep. This to me overall is a better support champion and ticks all the boxes to make her better than Teshada. But that alone may not be the only reason. Even though this is a free champion, level 10, 3 friends. Maybe you don't have friends. Maybe you're a loner. At 180 days, you get Scylla the Drakes. Now, Scylla the Drakes does the whole thing. She heals for 10% every turn. Not just when she revives, but every single turn. She revives an ally with 50% HP and puts an ally in protection on a 4-turn cooldown. This, by the way, also puts a 30% increased speed on a random ally. I don't know how good that is, but it's certainly not bad. This attacks 2 enemies. Has a 35% chance 2 times, all enemies 2 times, of stunning them. Better overall ability, and of course the decreased speed. Now, I know I'm not trying to convince you that Scylla the Drakes is better. We all know she is. But you're getting this champion free at 6 months. So why would you put time and effort into Teshada, who objectively has a worse kit? Now, I'm not saying the two of them can't work together, but because Teshada's kit is so uneventful outside of the death, she's really not bringing anything to the team other than maybe her aura. And honestly, with the breadth of champions now available in this group that weren't available 6 months ago, a year, 18 months ago especially, I can't see a reason for using Teshada. Back in the day when there was very few champions, yeah, there was no Armina, there's no Farrakhan. Harkin was bad. Woad Painted was worse. I think Skytouch Shaman may or may not have been around when Teshada was first introduced. Still, the Drakes wasn't there for free. There's a lot more champions now than there were. And that's the third reason, I guess, if you need a third one, why Teshada is objectively the worst champion in Raid Shadow Legends among epics, is because she is no longer even slightly useful in her own faction, let alone the entire game when you have a whole breadth of champions to use. How would I make her better? This is how I think. It's a very simple thing. This here needs to be 20%, and it needs to do it whether or not someone's dead. If they change this to a revives an ally with 40/40, also heals the entire team by 20% of their max HP, and can be used whether or not there's someone dead, then then she'll be really good with Jamarsa or with Scylla the Drakes on your team. So you have double the revive, you have constant heals all the time. Would make her absolutely useful, and I would recommend her for Faction Wars. But because this skill is 100% locked out, might as well still be the old skill until someone dies, it makes her very unusable as a champion in this game, and there are every other champion among the epics in Barbarians that just performs better than she does. So yes, the answer is she is the worst champion right now. Maybe they'll listen to me and change this to a heals all the time, in which case we can lift her up and we can find another champion to blame as the worst epic in Raid Shadow Legends. But until then, my crown goes to thee, Teshada. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you. Please be kind. Be safe. Don't build Teshada. And we'll see you in the next video.